Hello Ospreys, welcome to a special news update on Inside Swoop in 90 Inside Edition. I'm Ashlyn Glocky, working remotely from home to give you the inside scoop on the Inside Swoop. This episode will be dedicated to everything you need to know about the George Floyd protests in Minneapolis. Today marks the third day of protests in Minneapolis over the death of George Floyd. As shown in this video, angry crowds looted stores and set fires that stretched for miles. Protests also took the streets of California, where hundreds of protesters blocked a Los Angeles freeway and shattered windows of California Highway Patrol cruisers. Mayor Jacob Frey has reached out to the governor to call for the National Guard in Minneapolis. The first night of protests brought the death toll to 1. A man was shot dead during the violent protests in Minneapolis Wednesday night. Protesters took the streets near the city's 3rd Precinct station, causing chaos by looting and burning buildings. Police are continuing to investigate the death as a homicide and has the suspect in custody. Mayor Frey wants criminal charges put on the officer who was responsible for Floyd's death. Frey wants Officer Derek Chauvin, who was recorded suffocating Floyd with his knee on Floyd's neck. All these protests began after the 46-year-old died in police custody after being suffocated by Chauvin. Frey believes that Chauvin should already be in jail for committing this act, and the force he gave was not necessary. Well, Ospreys, that's it for this edition of Inside Swoop in 90. I'm Ashlyn Glocky, and I'll see you next time. Hello Ospreys, welcome to an international news update on Inside Swoop in 90 Inside Edition. I'm Ashlyn Glocky, working remotely from home to give you the inside scoop on the Inside Swoop. Amidst the George Floyd protests, states begin to remove Confederate monuments. Today, a statue of a soldier gazing south from Old Town was removed in Alexandria, Virginia. In Birmingham, Alabama, a 150-year-old monument was removed Monday night. Each monument was over 100 years old, and the removal was a direct cause from the continuing protests. But protests over George Floyd's death continue to expand. Today, French authorities banned a protest over racial injustice. Despite the ban, demonstrators attended and attention grew online. In Sydney, Australia, thousands peacefully marched through the city. The growing number of protests leaves U.S. demonstrators a sense of worldwide solidarity. Social media is also keeping demonstrators united. Today, the social media community went dark for Blackout Tuesday. From top record labels to everyday people, sites such as Instagram were filled with black squares in response to the deaths of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor. Rihanna, Alicia Keys, and Coldplay are just some of the many celebrities who partook in this. I'm Ashlyn Glocky, working remotely from home to give you the inside scoop on the Inside Swoop. Minneapolis plans to no longer have their officers use chokeholds. This decision came after the city and the Minnesota Department of Human Rights launched a civil rights investigation in response to George Floyd's death. They will also require officers to report and intervene when another officer uses unauthorized force. For now, the decision awaits court's approval. The message behind George Floyd's death continues to bring good changes. The mayor of Tacoma, Washington, Victoria Wooders, wants 4 officers fired who were involved in the death of 33-year-old Manuel Ellis. Ellis died in police restraint in March, and Wooders wants the officers prosecuted for his death. His death was announced a homicide caused by a lack of oxygen from physical restraint. The World Health Organization begins to broaden their recommendations for mask usage. Today, the organization announced people should wear masks where the virus is spreading and where social distancing is not possible. They continue to emphasize hand washing and social distancing during the coronavirus pandemic. I'm Ashlyn Glocky, working remotely from home to give you the inside scoop on the Inside Swoop. Portraits of past House Speakers who were Confederates will be removed from the Capitol. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi ordered their removal today and believes this decision best reflects the United States democracy.
Directing the clerk to remove the portraits of 4 previous Speakers of the House who served in the Confederacy. There's no room in the hallowed halls of this democracy, this temple of democracy, to memorialize people who embody violent bigotry and grotesque racism of the Confederacy.
Detroit automakers are also showing their support for the racial justice movement. They announced their productions will come to a halt tomorrow for 9 minutes to commemorate Juneteenth and George Floyd's death. The demonstration was organized by the United Auto Workers Union. The companies include Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler. In Florida news, a new bill could protect the NCAA from being challenged in court concerning student-athlete endorsement deals. Florida Senator Marco Rubio introduced the bill today. It gives the Federal Trade Commission authority if the association cannot create new rules by June of next year. This comes just 1 week after Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that opened up the market for Florida college athletes. Today, family members of Rashad Brooks hosted a private service at Ebenezer Baptist Church. The church that was once home to Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. welcomed those closest to Brooks. Some dressed in all white and others wore Black Lives Matter shirts. Brooks died from 2 shots by police officers after resisting arrest at a Wendy's drive-thru. Police continue to investigate the White Lives Matter banner shown at a British soccer match. During a Premier League soccer match at Manchester, a plane flew over the stadium with a banner stating White Lives Matter Burnley. Those responsible have not yet been identified, but reports say the plane operated by Air Ads and is based in Blackpool Airport. A popular online shopping destination leaves a massive carbon footprint. Today, Amazon announced their footprint rose 15% last year. The company emitted the equivalent of 13 coal-burning power plants running for a year, but have since then seen a 5% drop between 2018 and 2019, and plans to continue initiatives that reduce environmental harm. Well, Lost Phrase, that's it for this edition of Inside Swoop and 90. I'm Ashlyn Glocky, and I'll see you next time.